I did a testosterone test recently and my scores are like through the roof. The business is growing more than ever before, making way more than I used to. I'm living way more than I used to. So people jumped on calls with me already, pretty much ready to buy, you know. Fuck, I can go back to being a closer and make 15 just by jumping on calls, right?
So today I'm here on a new client interview, and today Matthew is sitting in front of me. Matthew scaled from 5K to making over $21,000 within a single month, consistently at this point. Matthew, do you want to do a little introduction?
I do. But first things first, I'd just like to say thanks to Nick. I guess as we're going to talk about today, like not only has my business transformed massively as a result of working with this guy, but my life has too. So I work with these coaches and help them scale their business. But before I was working with Nick, as he said, 5K was about consistent. I would have 10K months, but I'd have these massive peaks and valleys because everything was so dependent on just sheer energy input into the business. And this had me on this kind of like roller coaster of constant like of some highs, but then immediately followed by like crushing burnout, basically. The challenge I was facing before was that in order to make more money, it was all there was no leverage in the business. There was no system. So it just required more and more output from me. And when I'd hit 8, 9, 10, even 11K, I'd be so burnt out. And then the next month, the revenue would crash. And then I'd recoup my energy and then I'd get it back up again. And then it would crash again.
It
And
was
it
so
was
much
this
inconsistency.
constant it was this constant cycle, man. It was this constant cycle that was like super infuriating. I came from a background as a closer as well. So like there was this kind of idea in my mind that like, fuck, I can go back to being a closer and make 15 just by jumping on calls, right?
Exactly.
And the issue, as I said, there was no leverage, there was no systems and processes in the business. It was just like, I feel like I'm decent with copy. I had like a good outreach flow and stuff, but there was no systems, no leverage. And the only way to make more money was just put more energy in. And what Nick really helped me do was systematize everything to get leverage in the business. So I could be working on the business, working strategically on the business by implementing systems, et cetera, automations, everything. That
Exactly.
really allowed me to increase my outcomes drastically, right? Really, really drastically in a very short period of time. So as Nick said, going from what at the time was the average 5K months up to consistent 21, 20, 25K months. And while working less also, right now I'm in Spain, so I'm in Gran Canaria, but at the time I was like hustling out of the office, the spare bedroom in my
In
apartment
Ireland, yeah,
in Dublin at the time.
I remember that.
And it was a long winter, bro. It was a long winter, not a lot of sunshine, a lot of just hours spent grinding. But now, thanks to you and the support and things that you've brought to me, I have all this additional clarity. There's systems that have allowed me to take a step back. The business is growing more than ever before, while I can like go for a massage at midday today, or I can go and hit my two combat. So I do martial arts and stuff. I can hit my two combat sessions, incorporating that into the branding, and I'm getting more clients reach out to me or prospects reach out to me and stuff. So
That's
I'd
great
say
to hear.
one of
That's
the
actually great to hear.
initial benefits, Nick, right out the gate was systematizing everything from the outreach process, having leverage and systems in there with VAs, with setters and automations, having those pre-sales assets in place. So people jumped on calls with me already pretty much ready to buy.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. That's the ultimate leverage, like when you
yeah,
have but certain systems in place that allow you to like have people on calls that just are immediately ready to pay instead of having 2 hour closing calls or following up calls, all
exactly.
that bullshit. You don't need all these
Exactly.
bullshit like guarantees and high expectations type of shit. It's just easy. And
Yeah.
simplicity is the thing that scales.
So that means that now I can take back-to-back calls, right? And these people are ready to buy.
Absolutely.
The calls are shorter, they're easier sales, they're easier to work with clients,
Easier
and then
testimonials, better
easier
results.
testimonials, everything, man,
It's absolutely.
Um, and it's massive. And then that's only one side of things. The other side of things was the lead gen systems, et cetera, which is having my which is allowing my calendar to be more and more full, requiring while at the same time it requires me to spend less time in the DMs and stuff. So something I was like eager to speak about today was like on the front end, all the systems with the outreach and stuff. But because I have that leverage, now I'm able to like lifestyle max a little bit. I'm back training martial arts, something that's really important to me that like magnetizes my clients. I'm here, I'm abroad at the moment. I'm as an Irishman, I picked up a little bit of a suntan, if you can believe. But yeah, I'm like living life, making more money than ever before.
That's
And
absolutely right.
and some of the things we have planned as well are only going to be gas for the fire. Like what's going to happen in the next month and stuff is taking things to another level, which you can probably see that's making the thought of that is making me excited. So um yeah, banger,
That's
man.
great. And you also have that
Excellent.
confidence then when you have your first, like when you have these quick wins, what is very important, like you just get the thoughts of being able to scale. You said just, yeah, like I have amazing goals that I want to achieve. And
Mm.
you can get these thoughts in your mind just because of the goals that you've achieved in the past. And what you said very well as well. Like when I work with you specifically, what I really realize is like there are so many different components in a business that you need to be able to make that work, right? You can have an amazing lead generation. People always say, okay, if I have appointments, I can make things work. But when your offer sucks, when you don't have a good sales funnel, when you're not good at closing, when you don't have a good product, you won't make it very efficient ultimately, and the thing that we worked on really with you as well was like, okay, structuring every single component
Yeah.
within the business for it to be able to be extremely just make it like a flowing,
Mm.
well-structured process,
Yeah.
and that is what I really liked. That is what I really like. What are for you mainly the two things that moved the needle, uh,
Mm.
business wise, personal wise, just
Yeah.
in general, from going from Matthew 2 months ago to being Matthew now?
And I've been around like marketing and sales and stuff for like quite a long time. So many people listening to this and things as well. Maybe you've had different businesses and stuff in the past. Maybe you do drop shipping, now you're doing agency. Um, so I was very familiar with a lot of these things. And over time, I developed a lot of these different skills in terms of copywriting and sales and stuff. But because things weren't systematized, I couldn't give that process to a setter, or I couldn't give that process to a member of my team because it was all required on and balanced on my own skill level. So that's what was making things work. And that's what kept me chained to the business at all hours of the day. And that's what kept me chained in that back office back in Dublin. And that's what kept me teetering on the edge all the time of burnout. And what like I hadn't even gotten a taste of the lifestyle freedom that I started this business for in the first place, So as a result of everything that we worked together, systematizing everything, getting a setter in place, the branding stuff we're working on at the moment, I've I'm making more money, getting better results for my clients, and I have more freedom in my own life. So there's like a full 360 benefit there of like my staff members, right? So I have members of the team that are now making good money. I'm making way more than I used to. I'm living way more than I used to. And I just feel like, yeah, I personally feel so much more grounded and complete. Like soon, Nick, I'm gonna have to like kind of reassess. I'm 31 now, right? So I'm gonna have to like reassess, like, all right, I've hit these fucking revenue goals of mine. It's gonna be like, all right, I've done 30, 40 grand months. Like,
We're gonna make a new
what
testimonial at
is
that
it?
point.
Yeah, we'll make a new one at that point. But like at that point, I gotta be like, what is it I actually want to do here from this point? Because I feel like, all right, the game has been or at least that level of the game has been kind of accomplished. So yeah, man, it's been massive. It's been massive for me, and I'm somebody that like I've worked with a lot of different people in the past. I take the approach like whether it's a program, whether it's a course, a program, or a mentorship, I take the idea of like the slight edge. So if I can take one little piece of info and that has an impact and I double down on it and it compounds, right? But
Exactly.
with you, it wasn't one little piece of information. It was like systems, right? Not only paradigms and stuff, and like the whole building out this whole mid funnel of the business. Which, if the guys watching this have watched a lot of your YouTube videos, by all means, go and binge watch Nick's content, right? But
Yeah, man.
building all that
Exactly.
Yeah, man, this is all game changing, and I still feel like to a degree I'm only scratching the surface of some of the systems and stuff, right? Some of these other things that we're working on that starting to implement is really going to take things to the next level. So
Absolutely, and that is what that is what we've talked about together as well. Like service delivery, it's about multiple things as well. It's about communication, it's about accountability, it's about understanding what people
mm,
actually want. It's about asking the right questions. It's about giving your clients the exact like thing that they need within their
mm,
specific situation for them to be able to succeed. And I do feel like that not a lot of people are capable of doing that, you know, and I'm capable of doing that. You are capable of doing that for your
mm,
clients. And that's just ultimately a compounding effect, you know,
yeah,
because most businesses will just crumble, will not be there anymore in 3 years from now when you don't leverage all these multiple like components, whether that's in the
mm,
front end when you acquire clients, whether that's in the back end when you give your clients the fulfillment and the support that they need, you know. And I think
mm.
that is extremely important. And we've talked about this as well. Like, what is the thing specifically that changed your life outside of business?
Yeah, I'm like living life now on my terms. Like client results, the money and stuff, it's excellent, but like I have all of this freedom. I'm able to kind of plan the months to come. I'm able to go on trips. I'm able to meet with like-minded people, business owners. And now that I'm doing this again, I just feel like I can show up in my content, in my branding and everything else so much more powerfully because I've recaptured that part of myself. Right.
Exactly.
And this like that's just one aspect of that. Like further to that, traveling and all these other things, or even just right now, I'm in like a fucking lovely place. I'm getting my vitamin D. My fucking sleep is really balanced because I'm less stressed, right?
True.
I did a testosterone test recently, and my scores are like through the roof. But like, I don't know what it would have been like 2 months ago or 3 months ago when
That's
I was
fucking
like
crazy, bro.
chronically stressed. I was so fucking stressed out, and now like, yeah, now I'm like living life again, and I can't wait to start pulling that into my content and into my positioning because
to
that
even to even scale faster, to go
yeah,
through the
to
roof, you
even
know.
scale faster. And then further to that, like we talked about, like I've had this influx of new clients, and you're helping me build out this back end offer as well, which
Yes,
that alone, we've crunched the numbers on that. That alone will be bringing in about 20 grand a month. So all this new revenue on top means that
exactly.
I'll be doing 40, 50
That's
pretty,
crazy, bro.
pretty steadily, right? While living this sort of lifestyle and stuff. And
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah, man,
no,
it's been life changing for sure.
yeah, absolutely. And I feel like when you focus on your clients well, you will be able to like ultimately get like you will like at least 30% of the revenue that you will make is just recurring. It's because
Mm,
clients either upsell, clients either you can either resell your offer or you can create a new offer. Whenever you provide value to your clients on a consistent basis, they stay, no matter
mm,
if that's for months or years, right? But
mm,
when you focus on your clients, ultimately, I think you have a very healthy business structure, and that really allows you to scale, and that really allows you to optimize for the long term. And that is what a lot of
mm,
people don't understand and don't optimize for, you know. Specifically about that, what would you say to somebody thinking of working with us specifically who is watching
mm.
this video right now?
Yeah, great question, man. Great question. Like, I mean, I guess some people might be in a different situation to I was, but speaking from my own experience, Nick, like we jumped on a call. As I said, like I'm not like a noob to marketing and stuff. And like I have quite a lot of belief in my own abilities and things. So when we jumped on a call, I was like, okay, yeah, totally. It all makes sense. But I felt like I could see the moving pieces, right? And I was like, I think I can do this myself. I think I can pull this together. I think in 4, 5, 6 months, I can even just from distance observe what you're doing and kind of replicate that for myself. So we jumped off the call and I didn't buy, right? And then I think maybe either I went to sleep thinking this or because it
I
was the next
remember.
morning. It was
It's
the
the
next
next
morning.
morning.
I was like, dude, come on, let's get on a call. It was a Saturday. It was a Saturday morning. And I was like, dude, do you do calls on Saturday? I want to do it, right? Because I
Yeah,
had
I
this
remember.
realization that in my mind, and I see this with clients and prospects, in my mind, I thought, well, given 6 months, I could make this I could do this. I could do this myself. And then I realized that I was more willing to spend time rather than to invest capital, right? I realized that by investing with you, as I have, right, I could get this shortened from 6 months or 8 months or even 12 down to two,
Yes.
right? And if you're in business, right, that's the name of the game. Like you have to have that mindset. You have to be willing to invest capital to shorten the learning curve and get those results that you want. And if you're not willing to do that, you probably just shouldn't be in this game in the first place. So that's what I'd say. You know, a lot of people, if they're watching this video, they've watched other videos of yours. There's a reason why they're watching your stuff, and they're probably nodding their head in agreement and being like, yeah, this all makes so much sense.
Yeah. That makes a lot.
They
That's a great answer.
they got to be willing to invest in themselves, you know, and at the very least, you know, do what I did. At the very least, jump on a call with Nick, right? Just jump on a call with Nick. He'll run you through that process. It wasn't a particularly, I would say, it wasn't a very like high pressure sales environment. You're just like, yeah, man, this is what we do. This is, I've had a look at your stuff. This is what it would look like. In your case, we do this. So I would just say to anybody who's on the fence, at the very least, jump on that call, right? Get clarity on that system. But if you've got any income coming in, I really think the best thing that you can do is find something that's a good fit and pay to shorten that learning curve.
That makes sense. I agree. I agree very much. And it's pretty interesting to see because normally people that don't make a lot of money assume or feel like that time is more important than that because they've never really realized how much value their time actually has, you know, because they normally don't make a lot of money. So at that point, money is way more valuable than time. But when you understand, okay, how can I basically leverage the resources, so the capital that I have for me to be able to save myself more time and build a scalable business, it's worth so much. And that could be me, that could be you, right?
Yeah,
Why do you make the money you're making right now? Why are you doubling your business in the upcoming month? Why is that going to happen? That is because clients are happy working with you. Clients are happy working with me. And that is why it's such a healthy structure of how we build businesses right now. And I feel like that is one of the most important things, you know,
for sure.
making sure that we focus on, okay, what is actually needed for us to be able to get to our goals with speed, with the right communication, with the right accountability, with the right person, with the right information, the right knowledge. You have so many different factors, right? What we've been talking about in the beginning.
For sure.
That
Like you
absolutely
said,
makes a lot of sense.
like you said, money, you know, money loves speed, right? That like speed of implementation is the thing. And when we don't have clarity on the process and
Absolutely.
your process of support could be
Absolutely.
implemented just so quickly. And then you start getting those wins, and then doubt, hesitation, procrastination slips away. So even though I say that
Exactly.
I might have been able to do this myself on a sick, there is challenging moments, right? And that leads to self doubt. And from that self doubt, we stop taking certain actions, and then we show up on calls and we're not empowered. And it can lead to a downward spiral versus just like invest that capital, get that support. And instead
It's
of
not
it
only
being a
support, right?
spiral,
Like
it's a
what you
straight
said as
line.
well. Yeah, and what you said as well, it's accountability. Like normally people don't even understand the intensity that it needs, the energy that it costs to actually coach somebody well. Like just answering a couple questions on a base level, that's not
Yeah,
coaching. That's
yeah,
just normal stuff. That's just having a conversation. But
yeah,
coaching requires a complete different level of like energy input. And
for
I feel like
sure.
that is something that a lot of people don't really understand. That is what I do myself. That is what I learn you guys all to do. And that is why the clients get amazing results. You know what I mean? That is one very important
100%.
thing. And that is comes down to accountability. It comes down to coaching. It comes down to understanding what people want. Like it are all these different variables. You know,
And with the clients that I'm working with now, this is something I've taken from like in working with you, it felt rather than you being like a consultant or a coach, it was more like you were a part of the business, right? So I'm trying to take that into how I work with my clients, but that's been massive.
that's great. I have one last question for you.
Cool.
What advice would you give specifically right now to the people that are currently watching this video? Could be anything.
Like I said earlier, they could continue trying to do this all by themselves, but if they can already see the value, What's likely missing is greater clarity, greater accountability. So the best thing that they can do is put down the capital, right? Put their money where their mouth is and invest. The next best thing that they can do is jump on that free consult with you and get that battle plan, right? Get clarity and see if it's the right thing for them, right? So even 10K months, you know, I say this to clients and stuff that like even 10K months, the average result for most online businesses is that they're out of business in 4 months, right? Sorry, in 4 years, right? So even to do 10K months is quite an achievement. But I know a lot of the people that are watching this, they have bigger goals than that, and they may not have hit those 10K months consistently yet. So just realize that you're trying to achieve a spectacular outcome. It's like a Champions League victory. It's not going to happen without coaching and without support, right? Like Ronaldo, if Cristiano Ronaldo, like arguably the most talented, athletically, one of the most talented football players of all time, if think of all the support he has, all of the coaching. If he never had a coach, we wouldn't know his name. He'd still be on that tiny little Portuguese island, right? But because of support, he's a Banador, right? Like he's probably the best player to ever play, right? Not just because of talent, because this is where I was at, Nick. I was like, no, I think I have the talent. It was my ego. I was like, I think I have the talent to figure out this out by myself. I was like, I think I'm smart enough to do this. I'm 31 as well, right? So Nick's quite a bit younger than me. So there was probably my own pride and ego getting in the way there. But I just realized that, like, well, I'm trying to do fucking incredible shit, and talent is like only a tiny piece of that equation, right? And it just made sense. Let me shorten that learning curve. Let me go to the person. I'm already getting value from this guy's content. Let me go to the person that is not only doing it himself, but doing it for all these other clients. And let me just shorten that learning curve. And that's what's happened.
I like that, man. That was great advice. That was absolute great advice. We're gonna wrap it up here. I really appreciate the time that you took to be here, and I really aspire.
It's the least I could do. Least I could do, man.
I appreciate it and look forward to what you're going to achieve in the upcoming, what is it, minutes, days, weeks, months,
just around
years.
the corner for sure.
You know, it was a pleasure having you here, Matthew. And cool. We're gonna create something in the upcoming months that will be.
We'll record another one of these not long from now, man. I'm excited for it.
That sounds good, man.